Hello, and welcome to my world.
Oh, it's Friday the 13th.
Oh, is it Friday the 13th? This is Paul Heaton's Britain and Ireland.
All of it.
Right, it's Friday the 13th of March. It's raining outside in Manchester, but it's not been a bad year for weather so far. Actually, it's been good.
Have you done much gardening?
No, I haven't got a garden. I've got a backyard, as you can see,
Yeah.
and even the little bits I had, I've put them wood chips down. Well, I haven't. I've got a mate to do it. Yeah, so.
You gardening.
Well, it's not really got a backyard, would you call it?
Backyard.
Yeah. Anyway, this is Paul Heaton's. It does my head in because it's backwards. Paul Heaton's Britain. What is it?
Britain and Ireland.
Yeah, Britain and Ireland, and that bit.
Anyway.
Yeah, go on.
Well, the exciting thing was you started rehearsals for the new album.
Yeah, they have. I've been sat here listening to the songs acoustically and making notes and trying to get like ideas for them to follow. You know, they get the songs back, and you know that me and John have been working on, and obviously they're working a bit blind really, because I usually come in at some point and say, look, it wants to sound like this, it wants to sound like that. So they rehearse every day, you know, like Monday to Friday. I came in last Wednesday or Thursday, I think it was Thursday, and this Monday just gone, and just said, right, these are my ideas for these songs. And also say yesterday when I went in, was it yesterday?
Oh.
What day is it? Yeah, Thursday. Sorry, I was in Thursday this week. I went Monday and Thursday. They'd already come up with some of their own ideas for how the songs should sound. A couple of ideas. So I made a playlist on my iPod of different songs that I thought it should sound like. Obviously not melody-wise, or I'm not getting to Pharrell Williams territory. I'm talking about the arrangement. You know, the drum beat wants to sound like this record, and so on and so on. So, and they're really good for that. I mean, in the Beautiful South, that was one thing we struggled for. They'd know the songs, but they wouldn't know how to play them necessarily. And they're able. They probably listen to less stuff than say Dave and Sean did, but they know how to play it really, really well. So I can say, well, this wants to sound like such and such a song, and they're able to pick it up very quickly. So that's good. So I'll leave them again for another few days, and then we're rehearsing at the pub at the moment, King's Arms, upstairs in a secret loft. And well, it's like right at the top of the pub.
If you're thinking of storming the pub, you can't get to it.
Well, if we were rehearsing a bit later in the year, we'd have to have the windows open, but it's quite cold up there at the moment. We've got these little heaters. You could hear from outside. You could hear the rough arrangements. So then we do that another week, and then we go to Blueprint, which is just round the corner. That's near the Eagle pub.
Which is really good for any stalkers out there.
Well, it is, yeah. I'm providing pretty much all the information you need to pester me.
Oh, Johnny.
Yeah, you can pester somebody else. But so it's just me, Pete, Chris, and Johnny at this stage. Jackie will start coming probably when we get to Blueprint, actually. She's got a CD of the songs.
Right.
And she'll probably be learning. The thing is with Jackie, she again learns things very quickly, but she doesn't have to learn arrangements like the band do. She learns melodies very quickly. It's almost heartbreaking when you play a melody instead of complicated. Yeah, I've got that. I'm like, what? What do you mean you've got it? That's taken me a year to write in my bonds. I just got it. But yeah, she'll come on a bit later. But it's quite good. It's quite a good little stages of excitement, because obviously we just write it and it's just bare acoustic and sounding really shitty. Then it starts sounding a bit bandy when Pete and Chris add to it. Then I start singing, and then a while after that, Jackie will come, and that's another big plus, because we've got sort of more vocals, and you know, you can start splitting them into duets and what have you. And then they add their backing, so it all gets gradually better and better.
Keyboard and strings this time.
Yeah, keyboards, yeah. Stephen Large, you know, the lad
Yeah.
that we stole from Squeeze.
He's very nice.
Yeah, he's a lovely lad. And he's coming, he'll come probably a week after Jackie, and then the producer, John Williams, will come. And then around about mid to end April, we'll move over to Castleford, giving you more stalking information.
Yes.
Well, what are you going to do? I've never worried about stalkers.
Really?
You know, well, no, because how can you? It's that I've just to briefly go on one. I always thought the invention of the limousine and the invention of the personal security was the reason people wanted to get at you. Do you know what I mean? The bigger wall you build between you and other people, the more likely they are to want to scale the wall. The people who got used to get shit and get people trying to target them were the people who put people around them, you know, wore sunglasses when they went out trying to disguise themselves. I was just always myself, and you know.
No, you didn't take up cycling to escape fat lads.
To escape what?
Fat lads.
Fat lads. No, I didn't take up cycling. I'm only just look at my arms getting better. Wait, I'm just about to able to be cycling again. Oh. Anyway.
And on Sunday.
Sunday, yeah.
Yeah, you were revisiting the 1980s, the glorious 80s. You went back to your roots, man.
Yeah, I went back to Hatfield, Maine, which House Mountains fans will know. It was the B-side of the first single Flag Day, Cold Train to Hatfield, Maine. But it was somewhere I went during the strike, and my girlfriend was quite surprised. She said, "I didn't realise you'd gone here before you were famous and before you were well known." And people, it was nice to see people who knew me for something else. And it's also, I suppose, it's proof that I wasn't one of these people who just became famous and then decided he was going to become left-wing or anything like that. Yeah, there was people I knew from the miners' strike, and it was nice to hear them remember. One of them remembered a day I turned up on the back of a motorbike, actually. On the back of Richard's motorbike it was. But even then, getting around Yorkshire at the time was a nightmare. We only really got to Hatfield originally because we were on a motorbike. If we'd been in a car, we wouldn't have done it. I remember we went up some sort of grass verge by the side of the motorway to get over, and I know as well we were going to go to Orgreave and got turned back, but we were still on the motorbike that day, but didn't get there. So yeah, it was a good day, and it was good to see people still, you know, because those people, as I said on the day, they were the people who educated me. They were the people who politicised me, and they were the reason, as I said on the day, that I'm not just some sort of washed-up pop singer with nothing to sing about. Because I've always had an opinion since then. You know, I took their arguments and shoved them down everybody else's throats for the next, 30 years, I suppose. So there you go. It was a good day. It was shitty weather, but it was good. And I'm hoping they do something every year. Really, I'm sure they do. There must be some, even if there's only 5 of us, I'll still go.
Okay. So you're back from songwriting. You're recording.
Yeah.
Did you, by chance, finish your book?
No, I haven't. I'm still reading it. What happens with my books, you see, is I only ever read on the toilet. I know it's a bit personal, but I get a magazine delivered, and I'm a really slow reader. I mean, magazine's the New Statesman, so I'm sat there reading about politics. On the toilet, then when I finish that, skim reading that, and then I get back to my book, Savile, about Jimmy Savile, and it's really interesting. It's horrible, horrible. You know, like he's committing sexual assaults on people in the hospital wards, jumping from one bed to the other practically, and the nurses are coming in and they're saying, you know, you're not supposed to be in here, Jimmy, you know, and the nurses try and tell the senior management, and if they do, the senior management ignore them, and if they don't ignore them, they tell the police, and the police ignore them. There's always somebody in the chain who's let these people down, you know. Even right down to after he was dead, you know, on the BBC, there was a chain of command stopping the things being put out because they were scared of being sued by the family, you know. So it's depressing how easily he got away with it and how easily he groomed people by the amount of work and the amount of money he gave back to, you know, all organisations. You know, he had his Monday club where he was paying off the police. He had his club in Scarborough of him and the local town, Conservative town mayor, his name might be Giaconelli, who again was abusing people, using his ice cream business as a front to get young boys into work. Then, yeah, awful business and incredibly widespread. But it's an interesting book. The only thing that is boring about it is when it's getting bogged down in emails sent from department to department in the BBC. I've got a bit confused about that. But yeah, it's been an interesting book. It's about a 500-page book, so it's going to take me another 6 months to read.
Oh,
No, I don't go for poos. I only read when I'm I sit down for a wee, don't I?
You are a gentleman.
I stand up when I go for poo. On the other side of the bathroom. Yeah.
What music's been tickling you this?
What music? Well, I've been listening to quite a bit of Western swing.
Right.
Which is a bit dangerous, really, because I don't want the album to be.
Western swing.
No, but rockabilly as well. I'll play some. This is a bloke who sounds a bit like me. Well, I sound like him.
Yeah.
It's called Pokey Lafarge. The Western swing beats this. That's Western swing. So a bit of that. No, I've gone cold on me, Chas and Dave. Not cold, but a bit of rockabilly. Like this is a cover version of. Oh, you'll recognise it when it comes in. Green Day cover. Band called The Records, and again a bit rockabilly. Yeah, stuff like that. A bloke called Blake Mills, who I think is in a. He's in a not famous band. He's in like a. Johnny was saying he was in a band that I hadn't heard of. One of these rock bands, because I don't really like rock. Who else? Oh, I like. There's a Carl Barrett song I like. This is Blake Mills anyway. Nice voice. I like people I can't sing like. This is Carl Barrett's off his new album. Yeah, we've been listening to a lot of reggae and a lot of rockabilly, and we're convinced we're going to get the new album to be a reggae-billy album. I don't know what reggae-billy sounds like yet, but that's what we're working on. And then there's a load of songs that I've downloaded because I've said, right, I want it to sound like this. For example, George Baker selection, things like this. I've said, right, I want the start of such and such a song like this, and it's hard for them to do this, but they're good at doing it. So yeah, yeah, that's it really. That sort of stuff. Yeah, I'll turn that off now. But yeah, a lot of reggae, and not reggae, but yeah, I'm trying to touch on that sort of London Calling, Clash, and sort of British steel pulse reggae. You know, like a bit rougher and less smooth. And I'd like to make a couple of songs sound like that. It sounds like a nightmare to me, English or British bands doing reggae, and particularly white British bands doing reggae. There's a lot of mistakes to be made. There is. Yes. But there's another band who I think sort of get it right. I'll quickly play them. They're called Kitty, Daisy and Lewis. They're called. Where they be? Probably somewhere down the bottom here. Where are Kitty, Daisy and Lewis? Will they be in February?
They're on your iPod anyway.
Yeah, but they're not here. Why aren't they here? Wow, that's a bit weird. Well, they'll be in here. Kitty, Daisy and Lewis. It's getting sort of like reggae, but it's got that sort of madness thing. She's fun, and a bit Chas and Dave, weirdly enough. London, innit? Check this out. It's just like a bit of fun, you know what I mean? So that sort of stuff. I don't know where they've gone in that charts. Yeah, nice, thanks. Yeah. So I need to investigate that. Actually, that's a bit worrying. That Kitty, Daisy, and Lewis are not in my purchase. And there's a complicated system that I do here. I've been keeping a book of quotes.
Yes.
Well, it's my diary, but occasionally when I haven't got anything to write in my diary, I keep quotes. But I don't know if there's any interesting ones really.
Anything by Jeremy Clarkson?
Anything by Jeremy Clarkson?
Westminster
No.
State.
Interesting one here, because it reminded me of when I used to work. I'll be brief now, because I think we're covered. Give a man the reputation as an early riser, and that man can sleep till noon. Mark Twain, right? This is absolutely true, because when I was working in an office, right, I lived about, I'd say about 7 or 8 miles from where the office was in Red Hill, and I was living sort of like Coulsdon, Chipstead, like that. And there was one day, I used to walk down and get the bus to work. And there was one day, it was chucking it down with snow, and all the traffic was... I was always late, but I always stuck my thumb out and tried to hitch with people who...
Sorry.
Yeah, but a lot of people were working in Red Hill who knew me, and I used to get a lot of lifts, and they stopped, like, yeah, several people. Anyway, and a lot of people went past me as well, them bastards, right? But it was snowing and nobody went to work apart from me. I thought, I'm going to walk into, I've got nothing better to do. I'll walk all the way. It took me about 3 hours to do it, because you can't walk in snow properly. And I got there, and there was only Fred Allen, the company secretary, there. Nobody else had turned up. He said, Paul, what are you doing here? I said, I've walked in. I said, I can't believe you've done that. He said, that is unbelievable. From then on, I was 20 minutes late every day, and nobody said anything. I was just known as the person who walked into work that day. I lived the dream on the back of it, because everybody trusted me that I'd done. I think I walked home as well, but I think by the time I got about halfway home, the buses started running again. I got a bus home. But yeah, I lived the dream. I love that expression, living the dream. But yeah, it gives you remember that one. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit like that. I'll be home at 11 o'clock, love. Get home at 10. The rest of the day, rest of the week, you can get home at 12. I never did that. But no, it definitely has. It gives yourself the reputation as an early riser, and you can sleep in. Yeah, that's my recommendation from Mark Twain. I love Mark Twain. I've never read any of his books, but quite often I'm looking on the internet. There's different quotes and stuff like that about him. He seems a very bright bloke. I know he's dead. Probably quite a long time ago. But we never did like anything like that at school. It's weird. This is of no interest to anybody. But my daughter is 14 now, my oldest daughter, and she's picking her options at the moment. And I'm saying, please pick modern history, because I can't help you with any of your other subjects. She said, I'm picking ancient history. No, please, I don't know how about that. Because there's only one thing I know about, and it's what I taught myself out of school, you know, is about things like Russian Revolution and Hitler and what have you. And thankfully, she's picked modern history, so I can help her at least on one subject. But all the rest, I'm fucked with, really.
Alright.
So that's it, yeah. Have a good week, and yeah, next week, we're doing some filming, aren't we? Yeah, I'm agreeing, yeah. From the King's Arms, where you can see inside the rehearsal room, and we might even spin you a little tune. So, all the best, folks. Stop recording.